Do you know Tottenham?
What?
Tottenham Hotspur?
Top Spur?
No.
What's that?
you never heard of them?
No?
Hello. How you doing? How's everyone doing tonight? You okay? Anyway. Welcome to Arsenal Above All. It worked out in the end for Eberechi Eze, who scored a brilliant hat trick against Tottenham in the North London derby. What a moment to do that for his boyhood club, and it extends our lead at the top of the table following defeats to Man City and Liverpool. Joining me to discuss yesterday's amazing win is Ladies in Red host Lauren Dempsey, and of course the most dangerous Arsenal fan alive, the Arsenal Jason Bourne. He's been scrambling over rooftops to get here, and he's here. It's Neil Shah. How you doing, Lauren? How you doing, Neil?
Great, thank you.
I feel like royalty. Can I tell you why? Not because Arsenal thrashed those lot, but for the first time, that vlog guy, he responded to my comment on his vlog. I was shocked. I'm like, I can die a happy man. Dan, the man. Love you, sir. Love you.
Oh, good stuff. No, it was great. It was hard to hear what was going on. It was so noisy there. But yeah, thanks Daniel again for doing that. It was really good short vlog. You got a taste of the atmosphere and how happy everybody was. And it's great to get the used two back together first time this season. And as well, obviously in happy circumstances. And Lauren keeps her unbeaten streak going. I don't think she's ever appeared on a show where we've lost. So on that note, I'll make an important announcement. This is my last show as host of Arsenal Above All. It will now be Lauren in the hot seat because obviously she's hosting all the shows. That means we won't lose. So
I was going to say I'm going to free up my calendar for the rest of the season now, just to make sure it keeps going this way.
Next 10 seasons, I want to win 10 unbeaten quads in a row.
Let's do it. Yeah, I think we can manage that.
No pressure. But no, thanks for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. Thanks for everyone in the chat. Thanks from Nick saying what a performance, what statement, one step at a time. Feels like we are building to something substantial. Really appreciate that as well. Thank you. Thanks very much, Nick. Neil, you've dropped something in the chat as well, so glad to be here for this one. Yeah, of course.
I don't know who that is. No idea who that is.
Yeah. Yeah, someone's pretty happy. They've displayed in the chat with different variations of hello. So yeah, hello to you as well. Thanks to everyone who's joining us tonight on the back of an amazing Sunday afternoon. Let's get into it. We heard all the talk, before the game. Some people saying this is a perfect game for Spurs to play against us after the international break. Thomas Frank with his record against us in the past, where he's kind of got a few draws, questionable draws, and blah blah blah. And so before we get into it, Lauren and Neil, let's talk about. Obviously, we go back to the team, but let's talk about this first, and let's give our flowers to this. And we all know what happened in the PSG semi-final. It was pretty much a damp squib. The tifo that came out, it was almost like a beach towel or a duvet or whatever you want to call it. But this was amazing, absolutely amazing. The person that made it, I believe, is a guy called Dan Evans, and he's on Instagram. I think his handle is Dan X Draws, and he's a graphics designer, and he put that together. And it was absolutely amazing. The fact that Soul is at the top of it as well, just the cherry on the cake as well. You think you'd have Adams or Henry. No, it's Big Sol Campbell at the top of it. Fantastic stuff. And I think the club listened and they worked with the fan base to get that out. And it's funny again, isn't it? We're getting lots of stick about this. I don't know if you've seen it. We're getting lots of rival fans getting triggered by this. Oh, it was funded by the club, and the club didn't. It wasn't fan funded and stuff like that. And again, it's just funny how no matter what we do, we're always sort of looked at and told that we're doing something wrong or we're not allowed to do something or what have you. It's just makes you laugh, innit? But no, fantastic stuff from him. And the club actually listening and taking on board what they were like. They were basically laughed at about that. But no, fantastic stuff. It set the stage, and yes, let's get into it now with the amazing performance and win against our bitter rivals, Top Spur, as the legend said at the top of the show. Lauren, we'll keep going into this. With the lineup, there was a lot of talk about possibly one or two of the injured, quartet or quintet, whatever, that were out. We got Madueke and Martinelli back, which was great. But the big question was who was going to go in alongside at the back. It was Hincapié. What were your thoughts on his performance and just how we set up yesterday in terms of, being on the front foot against the Tottenham side that came here with, their back 5, 6, whatever it was?
Yeah, what was it? The back 5 with the 2 defensive midfielders. Yeah, no, they obviously were a bit rattled by us. I think when I saw the team news initially, I wouldn't say worried, but it was definitely a weaker team than we fielded before. Obviously through injuries, we're missing some big players, obviously Gabi being the name that everyone was kind of worried about, especially after an international break. You don't know how everyone's going to come back, if they're going to need a bit more time to kind of get settled in. It's a hard game to come into off the back of an international, but I thought the team on paper was okay. Obviously the name that stood out was Hincapié. I was surprised that we didn't see Mosquera, just given that he's had a little bit more game time. A little bit more maybe experience in the Premier League up until this point, but his performance in the end, I mean, there was no questions really left, was there? It looked like he'd been playing all the other 12 games that we've played so far. He looked so comfortable. Almost didn't miss Gabriel, which is absolutely crazy to think, when we were missing Saliba before Gabriel, we just looked a shell of the team that we were. And obviously with the reinforcements that came in over summer, it's hard not to get excited about where the season can go, because we are lacking a lot of really, really big players. But even even looking at the team before going out and seeing them play, it just didn't seem like anything was missing. It just seemed like a well-oiled machine. All the cogs were turning, and yeah, can't really complain about that, can we?
No, absolutely. It seems like we've actually got an answer to the whole, low block, and that seemed to be, Marino and Eze, as we've seen a little bit later, especially Eze, where he played. He looked like he was basically playing as a false nine, and it was Marino that was sort of dropping off and picking the balls up quite deep. Obviously, he set up that chance which led to the first goal. But yeah, what was your thoughts on just how we set up in the first opening minutes? Neil, were you kind of concerned, or did you think it was going to be a matter of time? Obviously, knowing against them, they're always likely to try and maybe get a little lucky break or something. They were taking long direct kicks from the halfway line, and Gary Neville, to be fair, was criticising them for it. But just what was your thoughts on just how we kind of set up as well? Just how we seem to be on the front foot.
Oh, wonderful. It's exactly what we needed after dropping those 2 points against Sunderland, which was a hammer blow, especially when, given the weekend, our two closest or fiercest rivals were going to either drop points together, or one of them at least, and we didn't take advantage of that to further our cushion. So to come back, as Lauren says, after 2 weeks where, some legs may be a bit stale, and not with the pace, but my goodness me, we started off so well, and I want to actually give a shout. I know the star of the show is who he is, and we all know, and we'll speak of, well, someone doesn't, someone doesn't know who he is, but I'm going to give props to Trossard, because I think he really deserves it. I was one of them. I've always loved Trossard since he came. James, who's in the chat, knows about this. Trossard and Martinelli have been two of my favourite players. But I have to say, in the summer, I just thought, are they progressing? Are we going to need them if we're going to get all these wonderful sales that players that we've been linked to? And I thought maybe if he goes, all right, it'll be upsetting, but it might be for the best thing for the club in terms of finances and easing the stress on the wages. But do you know what? I'm so glad neither have been sold. Somehow they've both said, no, we are still here and we are going to make a point. And what makes it even more appetizing, if that's the right word to use, is they all look so hungry. They're all kind of synced in with the knowledge that they're not going to play every game, because now we have got such depth. Even given the absentees, we can still choose in some of the positions. And I think they've accepted that, right. Even if I have a blinding game on a Saturday or a Sunday in the Premiership, I might not be there for the Champions League game in midweek. But the thing is, they all know that they're going to get a chance. There are so many games to play. We're still in 2 domestic competitions as well, which I hope we do go very far, and if not, complete them. And I think we're going to do very well again in the Champions League as we did last season. I honestly believe we've got the strongest squad in the Prem, without a doubt, and that's with the absentees. And the other thing I want to just say quickly, I know I probably not even answered your question, but I want to say that given the absentees, look how we absolutely destroyed them, even though we didn't even come out of third gear.
Yeah.
I'll say this again and again and again. How many times do I hear it? Yeah, but the opposition weren't at the races. They didn't put up a fight. They weren't up for it. No, we made them look rubbish. We started off on the front foot. We created chances right from the get-go, in my opinion. And as I said, I think Trossard was intrinsic in a lot of it. Even I think the second goal, he was found on the right-hand side doing his thing. So he for me, I want to give him a shout, because I know sometimes he gets left behind on this. So I was delighted with how he started. I don't think we gave him a sniff at anything, to be fair.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of Freddie vibes from Trossard. Just the way that he sort of makes that run, he gets picked out. He's scored some big goals. And he's done it throughout his career. Obviously, there's been times when he's looked a bit off it, and he looks like he plays like looks like he's drunk. But I think the last couple of games, especially this season, let's say, once he's come in, he's earned his spot. He's been on point. He got he got an assist, didn't he, as well, for Eze's hat-trick goal. So just brilliant stuff from him so far this season. It looks like he's a bit sharper as well. He took a knock in the first half, And it looked like he was going to, he was struggling, but he obviously came on and he scored the opening goal. But you're right, it is a squad game. And the thing that you hope, Lauren, is that obviously we've had so many bodies out, as we know. If they do come back and as they get to form and they're fresh, obviously in this Christmas, festive period, and then you've got obviously the running, obviously after that, it kind of bodes well, right? You don't want to sort of jinx it, but it could all be mapping out in a good way. But yeah, what's your thoughts on Trossard and the fact that we've scored open play goals? I mean, before you answer that, do we have to sort of thank Phil Foden for Eze's hat trick yesterday? Did he seem to unlock Eze after his goal, after putting it on the plate for him, for England? And should we be sending the match ball to down the M60 or whatever it is to Manchester so we can get some credit for that?
I think so. I think, we obviously cannot give any credit to Arsenal players. It's not allowed in the media. So we just have to, hold our hands up and say that was nothing to do with us. It was all thanks to external forces. No, and I think, the joke about, there's not going to be any Gabriel. I know I keep harping on about it, but everyone was saying, okay, where's the goal going to come from? Because he's always the one who scores against Spurs. He's always the player of the match, And I think we just showed a completely ruthless side yesterday. And I think, honestly, you mentioned at the top of the show, like that atmosphere, even watching it on TV, like I wasn't there, but it just seemed like everyone in the stadium was so hyped for the game. I think maybe the international break in between, everyone was so excited for it. Obviously a very significant game, even though, the opposition aren't doing the best at the moment. It just had this atmosphere about it that felt like a really, really big game. And it looked like every single player went out wanting to fight for it. And I think the point that Neil made about, players coming in, players having to prove a point, especially now with injuries, that kind of thing. The performance I saw from Eze yesterday had me really questioning, when Odegaard is back, does he get straight back in the team or not? I don't think so. Yeah, I see Neil shaking his head there, and I can't see it because he just adds, he's doing everything that Martin Odegaard did 2-3 seasons ago when we were singing his praises, saying, he's going to unlock different things for us. Obviously, he's gone through a bit of a rough patch with his injuries, lost a bit of form. But I think, we're in an amazing position where we can be ruthless and say, look, we have the leaders on the pitch that we don't need to automatically bring our captain back. Obviously, Saka has been doing a fantastic job as well. I think he's really stepped up and led the team very, very well. I love to see it. I just think there's nothing Saka can do that's wrong in my eyes, and I'm sure everyone will agree. But I think I actually can't even remember the initial question now. I've kind of gone on a bit of a rant there. But what was it again?
I do it all the time, Lauren. I never even.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was just on Trossard and how you think that
Trossard.
He's how his season has started, and I think you could say maybe I think Brendan said in the comments here, basically he said Brian, saying the Trossard experience proved valuable, but agree with Neil. Everyone looks hungry. Showed when Declan gave Simmons a little nudge to his head. Yeah, and Brenny's also said, Trossard is playing well because of more competition in the squad. Do you think that's pretty much basically what it is, Lauren? Because anyone that comes in now knows that if I play well, I could stay in, but I have to play well to stay in. If I don't, then I'm on the side. So is that pretty much what it's boiled down to?
I think so. And I mean, if you look at the numbers, I think Trossard has the most goals and assists, which I don't think anyone would have expected at the start of the season, given his limited game time with the competition with Martinelli. He has this hunger about him this season, and I think it's phenomenal. I also think Marino had a phenomenal game yesterday as well. We kind of expected him to play a little bit, I suppose, the false nine that he has been doing. But like you said, he played a bit deeper. And I think that dynamic works so much better because he's a very clever ball player. Yeah. He's a good finisher. I think he gets in the positions, this hybrid midfield striker, whatever he is, kind of an all-round talent, jack of all trades. But I think he played exceptionally well yesterday, and I think that was another standout performance that I had for sure.
Yeah, good.
Can I also just one thing about Trossard? You guys already know it, but I think it's 8 starts, 8 wins when he started. So 8 times he started, 8 wins. So what can you say? You've got to give the man some props here. He's part of it. He's an integral part of what's going on here, I think.
Yeah, he's had an outstanding start to the season. And just a shame that goal against Sunderland a couple of weeks ago, didn't end up being a winner. It deserved to be. But he's been outstanding. And I think you're right. We have to give thanks to Andrea Berta for his work in the summer. Him reviewing the squad from outside, looking in. Realizing that we needed a few layers of depth, and that's definitely pushed us on. And we're now our depth is the envy of everybody else in the league, because that's what everyone is talking about. Let's just dip into the chats. James, how you doing, James? Saying Neil's trying to be on fire like Eze was on the pitch yesterday. Keep your eyes on him, Mike and Lauren. Yes, of course. As soon as the stream's up, he's gone. Like I said, the SIM card's in the bin, and he's just going to ghost everyone until he's called again to appear on a podcast. James again. They're damn extras. Yeah, he's really brilliant work he's done. And check that out. It's really good. James saying I'd rather have a decent tifo than a roof that leaks and mice on the pitch. Yeah, absolutely. And Brenny saying, just referencing a streamer, don't end this stream, blood yet. Don't worry, we're not going to crash out like Expressions is at the moment. I don't know, his head's on Mars at the moment, which is great to see. And Brian said, Eze, that hat trick was made in Manchester, finished in North London. Yeah. Yeah. Eze's better footballer than Odegaard. Odegaard will walk back into the tent. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, what people are saying as well, because he played in his false nine, he could actually play. He can play there, and have Odegaard behind him, in a sense. Then you've got the defenders haven't got anybody to mark. They're just going to have to deal with runners, a little bit like what Trossard did for the first goal. So that's another way to get round teams. Brian saying his competition with place is great. Everyone knows that they're worth in the 25 per squad, and that is important to be successful in potential 60-game season. Yeah, I think it's gone. The days are gone where everyone's going to moan if they don't start every game now. I think players know there's so much intensity in games and so much effort. They need to get recovery. So when they know that they're coming out of the team and the quality is there being replaced, I don't think you can argue. To be fair, look, that's what City have done for the last few years. You've never heard anybody really argue about playing time, because they realise that that's the name of the game. It's having a good squad, having good players, and if good players you're surrounded by good players, you're going to be kind of happy. If you're getting replaced by someone who isn't on that level to you, that's where you're thinking, oh, well, why has this guy played ahead of me? So I think we're going to be fine. And I just wonder what Arteta's going to do if he ever has a full squad. I mean, what the hell is he going to do? Who is he going to upset to keep out? That's when it's going to maybe cause some problems. But yeah, just touching on the performance. Obviously, we've had a lot of flowers from certain people, Neil, and some people are trying to put it on us again, saying, it's ours to lose and everything now. What's your thoughts on that? For me, even if we get a result on the weekend, it's still too early for to say anything. Yes, we've had a difficult start, and yes, we've done this without the players who have been injured. But what's your thoughts on that? People now kind of turning and trying to say, oh, it's ours to lose, and all that other nonsense.
Well, if you ask me, of course, I'm going to say we're going to win 4 cups this season. So I'm probably the worst person to ask. But no, seriously, I think I won't get ahead of myself like I did the last 3 seasons, and only to be bitten right at the end and end up runners up. So I'm not going to say it's a guarantee. Nothing's a guarantee in life, as we all know. I think what is different is, firstly, we have got the wind in our sails. That's the first thing. That's why this win was so crucial in my eyes, because can you imagine dropping the points at Sunderland and then again against Tottenham? That may have put a few seeds of doubt in maybe some people or some players, even the management. You never know, but this win has given us that lift again. And I think we could go on another 10 run streak. Who knows? I know we've got a very difficult, even the next 4 games are difficult. We've got Chelsea, we've got Bayern Munich, we've got Brentford, we've got Villa away, I think. They're not easy.
Yeah.
And no, there is no such thing as an easy game in the Premiership as well. Of course, we all know that. But what we have got is, I think we've got this desire and hunger and belief, not just individually as the players themselves from their point of views as individuals, but also in the collective. And I think they're really in sync with Arteta's vision. I think Berta has got a lot to do with this. I think he's not only chosen good players, but maybe he's chosen players that understand what they're going to be walking into. So they're going to think that, okay, you're this good. Like you asked Lauren about, Hitachi. Why, do you think, and I think you're right, Lauren, saying, there was even I thought maybe why isn't Mosquito playing? But what that suggests to me is Arteta has now got that belief that all his available squad, he can trust them all and he can play them all. And this guy, especially, he's spoken so highly of him. I mean, he's worth over 50 million or something, isn't he? And I think we'll probably get him. We will sign him because at the moment he's on loan. But he has been waxed lyrical about this individual. And he showed it. Like I was saying when Saliba was out and Mosquera came in, you didn't think that Saliba was missing. And it's exactly what Lauren said. He's coming for Gabriel. You don't even think Gabriel's missing. So what a defensive unit. And we're not even touching on Calafiori, Timber, who's, I think, been the best player of the season. We're not even touching on players like that. Miles Lewis-Skelly. And that's another thing. Look at Miles Lewis-Skelly reaction. And he got 3 minutes, and yet he was so happy at the end. That's the difference. That's the difference. And it's all of this. It's like all the stars are aligned. And yes, we can't say that we're definitely going to win it, but what we've got is momentum. We've got belief. And I can't, the way I'm watching us play, I can't think of a team that can beat us. And I'm not just saying that with arrogance. I'm just being realistic. Because I used to think that of Liverpool. I used to think that of Manchester City. I thought, who's going to beat these guys? I've said for our invincible record, at times in the last few seasons. And if it weren't for that loss against Liverpool, which was just one moment of magic, we'd still be unbeaten now. And who knows? Who knows? So I think the omens are good and the stars are aligned. And I think this is a really good chance to win it. And what fundamentally we've got over the last 3 seasons is experience and maturity from all the players as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it was Miles that said it in an interview a few months ago after the season ended, when talking about the players, and they basically all said, "Look, enough's enough. Next season we have to win. We have to win one of the big ones." And pretty much said, there's no excuses anymore. So there's definitely the pain of the last 3 seasons. They're human. They hear everything, they hear all the comments, all the trolling, the banter, radio shows, whatever saying stuff about them. And if they don't see it on their feed, their friends and their family, and we'll be talking to them about it and telling them what's what, and say this is what people are saying and stuff. So they've got that sort of momentum, not motivation, I should say. That's not the only motivation. Obviously, is professional pride and everything, and how good they are. But yeah, I think you're right. I think this season, the pain of the last couple of years has definitely been it's going to be the reason why we get over the line this time. But having said that, I mean, you mentioned Timber. I mean, again, I don't know what more you could say about this guy. I mean, he's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I think I said in one of the group chats, I said, if come the end of the season, if the back 4 isn't in the PFA Player of the Year, if they're all of them aren't in there, then you just don't take it seriously, because you're just having people put in there for the sake of it. Or you've got to have someone from Liverpool, you've got to have someone from City. No, these guys are the best, and if they carry on the way they're going, it needs to be a defensive, with Ray and goal, just absolutely amazing. I mean, what was your thoughts on? Was there anyone else that stood out for you yesterday? Obviously, we'll talk about the boy that came home. The man that came home in a minute. We'll give him his flowers and stuff. But was there anyone else that stood out for you? Anything that kind of concerned you? Not that I'm sort of pushing you towards a certain goalkeeper and stuff, but was there anything that stood out? Anyone that stood out for you? That again, like you mentioned Marino, but anyone else that stood out for you or kind of gave you a little bit? Ooh.
I mean, I think we do have to mention Raya's positioning for the goal. And look, I think Neil said it with Sablasai's goal for Liverpool. It was, a player having a moment of magic. He saw the keeper off the line, went for the strike. They had no chances other than that. They had no chances of that. I don't think you can criticize a goalkeeper who has had zero moments of pressure in a game for being slightly out of position and then having a shot like that come in. When you think of the goals we've conceded, a huge proportion of them have been absolute wonder strikes. I'm not saying this was anything crazy. It's obviously not at the level of Sablasai, but this is something that me and my friends always say with Raya. Like I think Raya's probably one of our world-class players. I think he does not get enough credit he deserves as a goalkeeper, probably because our back line is so solid. And in a way, it's a bit unfair on him, because how many times does he come up clutch in big moments, and it's almost overlooked because you say, oh, well, they only had one shot on target, but that could have gone in. And in previous seasons, had it have been Ramsdale or another keeper, it probably would have gone in, and it would have been a different story as the game developed. A bit more pressure. Could the players keep their head, stay focused, and go on to get the 3 points? One thing that me and my friends say about Raya is you just can't keep him in the box. He just loves to be out. He loves to be in the midst of it, and because we are so strong defensively, even in terms of the defensive midfield, like, it's so hard to get by us. Raya often does push up quite a lot, and I think it's something that he'll probably have to be a bit more aware of now. I think we're seeing more shots coming from the halfway line, players just taking a chance, because keepers are being drawn out when the play is not in their half. They're kind of, I wouldn't say not focusing, but they're not in the most optimal position. But then again, it depends. Sometimes you see the ball come out and Raya sprints out and kicks it out for a throw kick, and it works. So I think it's a little bit unfair to put any blame on the goal that we conceded. Zubimendi, obviously, he was closed down by two players. Maybe you could have said there could have been a bit more support around him, but in the grand scheme of things, how often do we allow one shot go on target and in the end it's irrelevant? So I think it's really nitpicking, and of course it would have been great to have walked away 4-0 up, not giving them anything to gloat about, but it's also really funny to see Richarlison score another completely irrelevant goal. I really enjoyed that. I just was like, let him do what he wants. I don't know. I think you can say maybe positioning there with the goalkeeper. I did think Calafiori had a few moments where I thought maybe Mazou Skelly would come on a little bit earlier than he did. He just looked a little bit rusty. Again, nothing too crazy. Towards the end of the game, he kind of got into it a bit more. Again, it's after the international break, I think. He had an injury as well, didn't he, for a while?
Hip injury.
So to be honest, I think we're just this is the standard that we have now. We're so used to clean sheets. We're so used to having exceptional, immaculate performances that we are almost forced to look at the minute details to have any criticism to be balanced, But no, I think overall, there's no player I would have said like, oh, I think he has to be worried about his position next week or anything like that. I think it was just a moment of fluke, magic, whatever you want to call it, that resulted in the goal. And look, was it really that bad? No.
Yeah, I think like you said, it was mainly down to Zubimendi, and I think he took a bit of a bad touch. You had Timber opens for a pass, but I think he took a bit of a bad touch, and probably felt one player on him, probably Richarlison, who didn't feel the other midfielder coming in to tackle him. So it's probably more his fault. And I think as Steve has said in the chat, Raya, that's the way we play. So he kind of plays as the extra centre back, the extra outfield player in a sense. I think that was the only worry. It would have been nice to keep a clean sheet, obviously. But obviously, at that point, you're kind of thinking, oh no, okay, let's see how we will deal with it. But we needn't have worried because of this guy, Neil. And what's the word I'm looking for? That's not the word I want to say, but the joy that the Arsenal fan base felt when he signed was up there with I can't remember in modern times of signing a player. Maybe Declan Rice. We were really elated when we got Rice because of the player that we needed in that sort of, and the sign, the statement it made, because it was over 100 million. But Eze, we've seen him for so many years, and he's been an amazing player to watch for Palace, and obviously when he was playing for England. And we all know his story, and everything. And you think, what he's achieved. You think of the players that we've had. We've all seen Henry, Bergkamp, Van Persie, Ian Wright, Alan Smith. Could go on, and even for them on the other side, they've had Defoe, Kane, Robbie Keane, Clive Allen, going back to Clive Allen, really sort of unbelievable strikers, or forwards in their day, and none of them have done what he's done. Maybe some have come close, getting a couple of goals, but no one's done that. The last person to do that, obviously, as we know, was in 1978, was Alan Sunderland. Neil, I mean, I think when we played Bayern a couple of seasons ago, we lost in the Champions League, and the second leg, I remember watching that second leg, and we were just there was nothing there. We just didn't have anything going forward. There was no belief. But I think that when they reviewed the game, the club reviewed the game, the stuff that came out in the Athletic was that we needed someone with an X factor. We needed someone who's going to do something in the final third, whether that was just something totally off the cuff, or take a shot like what he tends to do. He takes shots with no backlift. He just comes, and the crazy thing is that seems to kind of stay low. It's kind of crazy. Have we got this guy? Is he the one that you really look forward to seeing? Let's say we spin it on a couple of months, or we're in the Champions League semi-final again, or we're in the same kind of scenario, maybe not where we are against the PSG or whatever. That someone like him is going to be the one that's going to unlock the door for us and take us across the line, as well as everybody else that we've got. But what can you say about the way he took his goals? I mean, the second goal for me was unbelievable on his left foot. The way he took it, and the way he just runs off, he just jogs off like he's going for like a run in the park or something. It's just crazy. But what was your thoughts on that performance, man?
Where do you start? I mean, where you start with the fact that they thought they'd signed him and we stole him. So it's another very akin to what we did with Sol Campbell. Then you've got Sol Campbell towering in that tifo above everything else in the stadium. And then they got to watch this guy, which then they said, oh, no, we didn't really need him anyway. He's rubbish. Well, the manager says, Eze, who I know he was joking, but it was nice to hear that. And it's turned into a bit of a laughing weapon for us to use. And I mean, Christ, it's his stats is saying it all. I didn't realise that in 2025 or something, that thing, you guys probably may have already seen it on Match of the Day, where he's got 18 goal involvements in 10 games. Haaland's got 25, but he's played 12 games more or something. So, statistically, against all the people that he's up against in that top 6, I think it is, he's played the fewest number of games, and he's up there. And, I was hearing people were, worried that, is he any good? And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? He might not have got the ball rolling straight away, but he's had to adapt to a new system. He was a very different position, very different kind of role with Crystal Palace. It's totally different.
Yeah. So
you can't expect someone to come in. I know you're right. You haven't got the excuse of not playing in the Premiership. Because he's done that. He's had that with Palace, and he knows about the rigors and the pace of the game. So okay, you can't use that as an excuse where some overseas players might come across and they have to get used to the pace and the physical side of the game. But it still takes time, and I think. I mean, I'm no scientist with the game, as you know, Michael, but maybe it's quite complex. What Arteta's doing here is quite scientific in itself, and it's taken time for him to really kind of get on board. But there have been flashes and there have been consistent moments, and to suggest that he's a waste of money or he's no good or he's a luxury player, all that nonsense, it's just rubbish. And yesterday, I think it was the first time that he showed all his qualities. Not just what he did with his forward play, but there was that one time where he tracked all the way back when they posed one of their very rare threats. He ran all the way back, collected the ball, intercepted the player, collected the ball, and then he passed it, gave it to Raya. Raya gave it back to him, and then he still managed to come up with something magical to get the ball going forward again. You're thinking, and we didn't even need to do that at that stage. The game was done. And he could have scored 4. Don't forget, he could have even scored a 4th. When you think about his the goals that he scored, I mean, he's so nonchalant about it. He's so composed. He makes it look easy. He makes it look effortless. And now this is the difference with Odegaard. We know that Odegaard can also score goals like that. He can. He's proven it when he has scored. They're not powerful, but they're so accurate. It's almost like he's passing the ball in the net. We know he can do it, but he hesitates a lot. He's looking for an extra pass, or he just takes that extra second. And by that time, it's too late because we know how quick the players around him are. But this guy, he just collects it. It's like it's done. And I mean, even the goal straight after half time, it's like it was so fast. I missed it. I was watching the TV, but I missed it. I don't know. I was like, what? Where am I watching the replay? I thought they were showing the replay of the second goal again. I honestly thought that initially. And you just think, wow. And for him to get a hat-trick, only 4. And this is another thing I didn't know. I mean, watching football since the dinosaurs. And it's like, only 4 North NLG hat-tricks ever. And we're winning 3-1, by the way, just so they put that record straight. Even in that, we're winning. And we're just all over them in every stat going. But he's only the 4th player. He's created history. And I just think he's going to get better. And, Lauren said it, nailed it on the head earlier. Does Odegaard get back into this team? I'm not so sure either. Because, and especially now, you can't, he's found his footing. You can't then say, "Oh, see you later, mate. No, Odegaard's back. You're going to be rested," or unless it's a true rotational change to rest a player, which I'm all for, by the way, because they're going to need it. I think Eze is the man at the moment. He's got to be. And it was so nice to see Madueke as well come on, and he looked fresh again, tearing it up. Can you imagine Saka at the moment with the choices we've got? Saka, Madueke, and Eze, tearing up the front line. Oh my God, it's quite mouth-watering, to be fair. This guy, this guy Madueke, I think is going to be another revelation. Mark my words. People worried about him. Oh, he's coming from Chelsea. No. He was our best forward when we started this season. In my opinion, he didn't put the ball in the net, but he did everything else. And he reminded me of Jesus. The opposition, the defenders don't know what to do. And even if he's not scoring, because of his pace and because of his intent to go right to the byline, the defenders have to follow him, so they're distracted. So that frees up the Sakas, who always used to have 3 players on him. We don't have that anymore. So Saka can do what? It's just, oh my God, it's just so exciting. You can talk for ages about this stuff. But Eze, well done, Eze. Oh my God, you've come home. And how have you come home in the North London derby of all games to do that? Incredible.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And there's a moment that chance he had when he could have got the 4th, when Saka's breaking through and you've got Eze in the middle and you've got Madueke on the wing on the other side, open. And you're like, Jesus, man, look at the options there. And, Yorkeres ain't there. You know what I mean? And, you haven't got, there's just so many options. Havertz and, and like you said, Jesus and Odegaard to come in.
And Jesus, you watch Jesus come back and tear things up too. Watch.
Well, he's probably looking at that Palace game, isn't it? He's probably looking at, I've got to come back and do madness against Palace again, like I did last season, score a hat-trick again and whatever, and then get injured again. I don't know. But hopefully he can come back. What's your thoughts on Eze, Lauren?
What can I say? What more can I say? It was phenomenal. I said before the game, I was like, I bet Eze's going to score. It's just such a storybook thing, He scored against Palace. I think we're going to see something again today. He's going to get a goal here, He was linked with them, obviously. And my friend was like, yeah, probably, maybe even a brace. Never did we think he would get a hat-trick. But even watching it, like you said, I was convinced he was going to get another one, because every single time he touched the ball yesterday, and even looking back at the goals, some of the goals that he scored, how he got past that many players, the confidence in him, the desire there. And I think one thing I want to say, just to go back to the point that you made earlier, Michael, about is he going to be the X factor player? I think we're in a really lucky position where we're not relying on one player. We don't have Haaland. We don't have that one player who we need to be fit, or else it's, disaster. We don't have a plan B. we are so lucky that we have players dipping in and out of form, I would say, or dipping in and out of confidence. You have a great burst from Saka. You have a great burst from Trossard, from Martinelli when he comes on, and then yesterday just happened to be Eze's day, and yeah, I don't know. It's so I'm kind of the same as Neil. I just feel like it's so exciting at the moment that there's just so much to be excited for, to look forward to. I think previous seasons we've got to this point and we're kind of going, we need to make sure everyone stays fit. We can't get ahead of ourselves. But it's not, for me, it's not even thinking about winning at the end. It's that journey that we're going to go on and see what each player does every week. And it's so exciting. Yeah. Like, we have Bayern Munich in 2 or 3 days time. Yeah. I'm excited for that game. And I think Neil mentioned it as well. Like, I'm thinking, what team could we actually go up against that really challenges us, that makes us really dig deep? And I think it's the perfect challenge, going up against another European giant, a team who are doing so well in their domestic league. And, previous seasons, we would have been worried about it. When we had Real Madrid last year, when we had PSG, even in the group stage last year, the big games we had, it was like, okay, are we going to be able to do it? I'm not saying it's a guarantee, of course, but we're in the perfect position, even with all the players missing. We have a lot of players in form. We have players who can come on for them, for the players that maybe we're saying, yeah, he looked a bit off. It's great. And it's obviously not to take away from Eze's amazing performance, saying that it wasn't exceptional. And I don't think that he's going to contribute massively for the rest of the season. But I just think when you look at it, there's so many performances that we've seen where there's been standout players. So, yeah, I don't know. It was phenomenal. And I think his goals were exceptional. Very similar. Like, I kind of thought maybe Spurs, after the first goal, second goal even, would, pick up on him more. But he was just too much for them. Like, it was an incredible performance.
Yeah, all these goals came from the same part of the pitch, which all the tactical, it's called it, zone 14, which is the key area, that if you get the ball in that area, you're in trouble, or your opposition are in trouble. But if you get the ball in that area, that's going to get you the most chances of scoring a goal. And you saw 3 of his goals came from exactly that position. So amazing performance for him. So happy for him. And obviously, we'll touch on Wednesday in a minute. But Steve said, Lauren is our Trossard. She's on. We don't lose. Great shout there.
It might be the eye bags as well. I can't tell. I'm not sure.
James is go back on the Chelsea on the defensive record. If we break it, then all 5 of that back line need to be in the PFA team of the year. You kind of think if we get even if we get close to it, or if we don't get it, and we win the league and we're the best team in the country, I don't think with that defense, I don't see how you can't. I don't see how who you don't include in there. I don't think there's anybody else in the league who is doing anything to be worthy to be in there. Brian's just saying, just think with the new additions and the players that we've gone through, the disappointment of last seasons, it's a good mix to drive each other. But a big shout has to go to Gabriel Hunter. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You see him there on the touchline, and he's proper wants it, and he's definitely brought the touch there. I think he's actually calmed Arteta down somewhat, which we never thought was possible. But it's just great stuff. Brendan just saying, Jesus is a great start to big part to play. Sorry, if he can stay fit, absolutely. That's the key. I think he's a top player. He's been training, hasn't he, for the last couple of sessions. So fingers crossed. I think Munich might be obviously come too soon for him. But again, with the fixtures we've got coming up in December, I'm sure he's going to feature in maybe the Villa game or the Champions League games. I mean, it's just great that we've got we're getting players back. As well, and Steve's saying, as touching on what you said as well, we have a team of X Factor players now. I know Chelsea fans were calling Madueke 007 because he's played 7 games without any assists or goals and stuff. This is a stupid thing that people do now. But I think you're right, Neil. That will come. That will come. It's stupid to think that's not gonna happen. He looked really sharp when he came on yesterday, I thought. So it's and I think he had a good sprint against somebody, which you just think, okay, let's test the knee out or the hamstring out, whatever it was. So yeah, it was good to see him back. Steve was saying Saka didn't have his best game, but still did bits. His first touchdown underrated, and he's not making the best defender in the world yet. We just destroyed them down the right hand side yesterday, and I think it was Timber and Saka. A couple of goals, they just opened them up. Eze's first goal and his second goal both came from Timber and Saka, just doing bits down that right hand side. Brian saying Munich and Kane will be concerned as we are now thou shalt not pass attitude. Yeah, that definitely came from Hincapié, who has experience playing against Bayern, of course, hasn't he? He's played in Germany as well. How you doing, Nick? Great to see you on here. And Brady, the Arsenal historian, the walking Arsenal wiki, is Arsenal's record in conceding goals was 17 yet in 98-99. Didn't win the league that season as well. Yeah, so yeah, it's Premier League, isn't it? Yeah, the football started when the Premier League started. That's what we get told. Let's just have a quick look at this.
Mark, before you do that, just
go on.
because I'm greedy, can you imagine if Eze had got the fourth and Rice had scored from his assist, which was blooming good as well, that little chip? Who would ever get 4 goals and an assist at a North London derby? It's just unheard of. That's how good he was.
Yeah,
it's just like you can keep going on and on about the ball. It's just incredible.
Yeah, and you can kind of see from this heat map as well where he played most of his football yesterday, and it was in that sort of false 9 position. So, he's definitely going to be. It's almost like we're a Swiss Army knife team, because a lot of people will say, "No, it's going to be Marino up there." And I think you mentioned, Lauren, the fact that he's such a clever player that he can drop off and keep the ball ticking over. And one thing I did like about Marino, which I've noticed, is I think we all noticed when he first came, he looked like he was playing out of his arse after 20 minutes. He looked like he wasn't used to it at all. But he does look like he is absolutely used to the blood and thunder of the Premier League game now. He's running around. He doesn't look like, his fitness looks like his conditioning is really sorted out. So that's some great stuff in that regards. Obviously pushing on as we go into the rest of the season. Nick saying, out of our returning players, who are you most excited to see and or combination of? Good question. What do you think, Lauren?
I'm very excited for Havertz to come back. And I think with a lot of the attacking players that we've had, I think he can really feed off them very, very well. Obviously, all the talk this season has been about Gyökeres. He's obviously picked up an injury, and I wouldn't say that we were missing him, but you did miss his presence. He's very strong up front. Maybe that's something that we're lacking. Not so much yesterday, but it could be a lacking presence in the game. And I think because he's come in and there's been so much pressure on him, a lot of people are forgetting about Havertz, and I think he's a very, very important role to play when he comes back from injury. And I'm very excited to see how he links up with the likes of Eze and Madueke, also with Trossard and Martinelli now back in form, because I think for a big chunk of last season they just weren't there, and it's gonna be really exciting to see how he gels with the team. So yeah, that's my answer. Yep,
good stuff. Neil?
Glenn Helder.
Well, I don't know you can say that.
No, seriously. Oh God, I mean, Lauren, spot on again. Kai Havertz, 100%. I absolutely love the player. He was. I just felt he never got the credit either. Pretty much like Trossard, I don't feel has got it this season, but he never got the credit that he was. He was brilliant. He was so different, and all right. It was not down to him, but he had a little bit of a difficult start because no one quite knew what his role was. But as soon as he went up front, oh my God, he was devastating. And how many times did he save us as well? He was great. And so for me, Havertz, and then like Lauren said, how he will link up with the wingers, and I'm so excited to see that. I want to see more of Gyökeres, of course, because he just got himself up and running and then suffers an injury. It's always the case with us lot. I don't know what curse we've got on our heads, but it's such a shame. But also, I mean, there's so many others. People might say, why is no one mentioning Odegaard? But Odegaard, we know what Odegaard can do. I just want to see him score more goals. He does everything else. He's just got to score. He's got to be confident and think that, do you know what, I'm just going to take a shot, sod it. Because he's got it. He's got it in his locker to do that. But I want to see, I keep saying it, I said it all throughout last season, I want to see Ethan given more minutes. I think there's a quality player in Ethan. And I know he's not one of the injured with the question asked, but he's got to get a chance. He's got to. I want to see him in all the domestic games. There's no excuse not to play him. And I think he's a fabulous player. And I think he could become one of the world's best as well. And of course, Doberman, he's just... he's Doberman, isn't he? But hopefully he will get some minutes. If we're smashing teams 4-0 by after 5 minutes, then yeah, stick him on.
Yeah, great question. I would love to see, even though Trossard has been amazing, I would really like to see Saka and then on one side, Madueke on the other, with Eze sort of behind Gyökeres. I just think that would just be pure delight to watch them going forward, and watching the opposition just haven't got an absolute clue what to do and who to pick up, and then start moaning and saying that we can't play them all together. It's not fair. This Arsenal team is too good. Always find a way. James has said he'd like to see Gyökeres back so we can wind people up again doing a celebration. Yes, of course. Yeah, that'd be good to see him back as well. Yeah, I think we really need him back. I think there was a couple of situations yesterday, funny enough, where the ball broke to Saka and Marino was running through, and he could have played him in, but he didn't, because he kind of thought that he realised that he's up against Van der Ven and Romero, and they're quick, and Marino isn't that quick, so it would have been the case of, but you think Gyökeres in a couple of situations yesterday, he would have got through and scored. Easily would have got 1 or 2 as well. And touching on that, Brenny saying, I feel we don't hurt teams like Spurs, should be scoring 5 and 6 home and away. Just wish we were a bit more clinical, but I think that's coming. It could have been 5 or 6 yesterday. It should have been, really. And you think their only shot on target came from 40 yards, and it was a perfectly hit shot. Other than that, they wouldn't have had a shot on target again, and everyone would have moaned about that as well, wouldn't they? Ridiculous. Brian said Marino definitely building his fitness, also playing for his country. Yeah, he basically starts for his country as well, doesn't he? He's definitely looks a lot more conditioned and used to it. Nick saying, I'm really looking forward to seeing Havertz as a Gyökeres mix. Yeah, I agree. Havertz looked very good pre-season. I think he has a big part to play. I hope he's all right, because obviously the German manager Nagelsmann came out and said he had a bit of a setback, and he's been out a while now. I know he kind of featured in pre-season a little bit, and we were kind of trying to get him through. But yeah, I just think I hope we see him back before the year's out, because if not, then you're kind of worried, really, or what's going on there. Steven says, Jesus and Ben White on that right hand side. Yeah, Glenn Helder laughing at what Neil says. Yeah, it's your favourite player. Brenny saying, if we win the league, then Harry Kane should call his mate and be at the parade like he did in 2004. Yeah. Good stuff. Nick's been on this a lot, about having Miles in midfield, maybe to start lighting loads. Yeah, because I think the only worry I'll have, guys, in terms of what happened yesterday, and if you look at the team, and you think who's the kind of player that we could, we wouldn't want to lose for a period of time, and I think it's Declan Rice. I think he's been, just because he's just all round, just his athleticism. He can pick his passes and game intelligence. The pass, if he takes a touch for when that ball comes out to Eze. If he doesn't play that first time, we don't score from that chance. When the ball pops out to him from the header from I think it was Danzo, I think heads it out, and he pops it straight to Eze, and then obviously Eze does the rest. But I think his energy, his leadership, I think he's been amazing this season, and obviously his set piece deliveries. I think if we don't have him, yes, we've got Norgard, and then we could possibly play Miles in midfield. But I think we haven't got anyone like for like like that in that midfield. And he would be the worry for me. If something happened to him, that's the only worry. Just have a look. Brian saying that Odegaard should be able to come back and play with freedom rather than feeling like he has to carry the team. That might have been the problem last season. Especially with Saka's injury and Ben White's injury. So he was the creative, the creative guy, wasn't he? But yeah, it's going to be interesting. James saying, Declan Rice absolutely mugged off Whoopi Goldberg yesterday as well. Yeah, I was waiting for that one. Whoopi Goldberg, what he doing with his Barnet? And he was bigging himself up, saying, "Oh yeah, it's going to be a really good game," and stuff like that. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Yeah, Rice definitely wanted to eat yesterday. Yeah, brilliant stuff. Before we go, we obviously have a quick glance at the table. Obviously, we've got Bayern in the Champions League on Wednesday, and so it's like first versus second on Wednesday, and it's first versus second on Sunday. Funny that. So we've got that to deal with. Looking good at the moment, looking really good. Again, if we could just get a result, Chelsea need to win, don't they? More than us. We don't need to go crazy, but I think Chelsea got a bit of a bee in their bonnet. I know Casado has. He says they're better than us when we beat them 1-0 last season, saying that they were the better team and blah 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 and world champions. So let's see what they're all about. And just before we go, we've got Bayern and we've got a reunion between these two guys, and it's going to be very interesting. I mean, Eze this weekend with what he did, and Elise, look what he did this weekend as well. So it's going to be a special game. I think they're going to be one of the very few teams that are just going to come out and actually try and play us a game of football rather than low block it and try and just break away and maybe just nick one and stuff. I think it's going to be a really really a good game, and because of the format of the Champions League, a draw isn't a bad result. It is a bad result. I just think as long as we go out there and we play, I think there's going to be rotation. I think there's going to be a lot of rotation. I think in that, because I think he basically played. Eze played 90 minutes, didn't he? He didn't sub him off. So I think he's going to have a few, 3 or 4, I reckon, are going to come in, and I think the 3 or 4 that come in are going to be good enough to play. But what's your thoughts on that, Lauren? Are you looking forward to that as well? I mean, because everyone we played at home this season has just been low block, hasn't it? So.
Mm-hmm. No, I am. I kind of wish that I was a neutral watching it, because I think it's going to be an amazing game of football. Obviously, as an Arsenal fan, there's a lot more, bit more investment into it. I think it's going to be a great game. Obviously, I said, I feel confident going into it. That's not to take anything away from Bayern Munich. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be tough, but I'm excited to see how the players go into it after what we had on the weekend. And I think almost the atmosphere that was built for Spurs was almost to kind of get the atmosphere to carry on to Wednesday night as well. So it feels like a really big week. Obviously Spurs, Bayern, and then Chelsea again. It just feels like it's all coming. It's all happening. It's obviously just a random week in November, but towards the end of the season, it could be a big one. If we came away with 9 points from all those 3 games, puts us in a very, very nice position, And I don't think that we should be going into it looking for a draw. I don't think anyone is willing to accept that. Obviously, it will depend on the game and how we play. But having seen the performance that we've had, how we've performed in Europe so far, I think we should be going in saying, we are more than capable of facing this Bayern Munich team. And also, the hurt that they caused us 2 seasons ago. A lot of the players will be carrying that. Yeah, for sure. I think we're going to see Saka have a lot of fire in that game. That's my prediction for it.
I think so. Yeah. You like yourself, Neil? Another step towards the quadruple?
Of course. I think it's going to be a really tough game. I mean, it's the top 2, as you said, and it's not going to be easy. I think they're going to be up for it, but I'm glad that we've got the home advantage for this one. Straight after a North London derby, we've got the home advantage, and then of course we've got Chelsea to think about. So it is that makes the game even even harder, if that makes sense. Sandwiched between two London derbies. That's another thing. We get so many London derbies. The cities of this world, Liverpool. So many derbies do they have? 2, 3 a season, if that. You know, we really should play a derby every other week. You'd say maybe even more so. So, you know, that's an extra thing for us to be able to to cope with, and the demands of that is challenging in itself. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think we're gonna win. We're gonna just edge it 4-0. I think. Well, we look. No one expected that of us against Atletico, and we took them apart.
True.
And that would do. I think if the crowd, the home crowd, if they're up for it, anything like they were against Tots, who's that team?
Hotspur.
What's
that?
Yeah, what's that? That one. If it's anything like that, and the home crowd, you know, they've got to really make that a very oppressive stadium in the middle of the week. They really have to. I think that will count for a lot. And I don't think anyone gave us a shout of dismantling Atletico the way we did. Who's to say we can't do that? And it'd be nice, wouldn't it, to beat them lot and then to beat him, his former club, and do it again 2-3 days later. 4-0 is my prediction.
Right, love it, Neil. As Steve said, he loves your confidence as well, and we all do. And it's for neutral. I think, like you said, Lauren, it's going to be a really, really great game. But yeah, I think they're probably going to be more concerned about us than them. And I think when the game is kind of tight like that, it goes down to defenses. I think, and our defenses are better than theirs. They conceded some really dodgy goals, and it's not a strong league. I watched some highlights of the Bundesliga the other day, and the quality of the goals that were being scored was just it was really bad. You know, it was really, really bad. So let's see what happens. Obviously, we know we've got that ex Tottenham player, the ex Arsenal fan, coming to town, and probably going to get his penalty as usual, or try and get his penalty as usual. But hopefully, Hincapié will eat him up and spit him out and send him back to Germany with his tail between his legs. So let's see. But thanks for everyone who's joined us tonight. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Lauren. Unbeaten streak continues. Catch Lauren on her amazing podcast, Ladies in Red. Still a bit of an up and down season, still going for the ladies. I don't know.
Let's focus on the men. Let's just keep talking about the men.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on at the moment, but up and down, and fantastic stuff. Keep going with that. Really brilliant. Yeah. And thanks for your time tonight. Love to have you back on again very soon. But we'll talk about, you're hosting it anyway next week, so so you could beat the.
I'm here all the time. Just you let me know.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Neil. For making an appearance as always and supporting the channel. Really appreciate it. You know, I know you've always looking over your shoulder and always making sure you're not getting tailed and stuff and everything. And make sure you give me the signal when you give me your location from your new SIM that you put in, so we know where you are and that you're right and safe and everything as well. Yeah, the most dangerous Arsenal fan alive. Be careful, people. Thanks so much for everyone that supported us tonight, and all the amazing comments, loads coming in. Really appreciate that. I think I'm going to put there's a little ticker that you can put on the side so you can see all the comments coming in. So I just want them to be seen, even if I don't pop them up. So I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the support. We'll be back on Monday night again after the what am I talking about? No, we'll be back on Wednesday night for a rapid one for the Bayern recap, and hopefully we're talking about a good result there, and then we'll be back again on Monday to review the Chelsea game. So a couple more episodes coming your way. So appreciate that. Thank you, Neil. Thanks, Lauren. Thanks everyone in the chat. As always, keep it Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners. Before you go to sleep tonight, make sure you do laugh at Tottenham, but I'm sure you get you off nice and easy to sleep. All right, all the best. Take care, guys. Come on, you Reds.